Welcome back for another deep dive. This time, we're going to jump into some young adult fiction.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So specifically, we've got a collection of winning short stories from a contest
Okay.
that was held back in 2012 by Loudoun County Public Library.
Wow. 2012. That's a while ago.
It is, yeah. And you know what's really interesting is it gives us this glimpse into
Yeah.
how these young writers were tackling pretty complex themes within
Right.
the short story format.
And it's not just any stories, it's the best of the best, right?
Exactly.
These were the ones that kind of rose to the top.
Yeah, the ones that stood out
Yeah.
among their peers.
Skillful use of language,
Yeah.
unique perspectives, all that.
For sure. So why don't we jump right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start with the first place winner, A Love Story
Okay.
by Ivy Duerr.
A love story.
Yeah, the title, might make you think
Yeah.
typical romance, right?
Sure.
But this one takes a very different approach.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so it's actually told from the perspective of a sentient chair
What?
named Timeout,
Okay.
who witnesses the life of this troubled girl, Christine.
A sentient chair. I love that already.
Right.
That's a really unique choice.
It is, and I think it was really brilliant on Duerr's part, to give the chair a voice.
Yeah.
It allows us to experience Christine's life,
Yeah. Yeah.
through this lens of unconditional love and unwavering support.
Yeah, like we're right there with her.
Yeah, we see everything through Timeout's eyes,
Mm-hmm.
her childhood tantrums,
Mm-hmm.
teenage rebellion, her struggles as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
And, this chair is just steadfastly by her side.
It makes you think about those things we hold dear,
Right.
Even the inanimate objects that bring us comfort.
Exactly. And, it's funny because you think about
Yeah,
the chair Timeout, it becomes more than just furniture, right?
absolutely.
It represents this constant presence
Yeah,
in Christine's world,
Right.
which is always changing.
always in flux. Yeah.
And what really resonated with me was how Timeout views Christine's death by the end of the story.
Oh, interesting.
Like the chair finds this sense of peace
Okay.
in Christine's passing, suggesting that, maybe Christine finally found
Yeah.
solace after a life filled with hardship.
It really makes you think about what a good ending really means.
It does. Is it about longevity or is it about finding peace?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Complicated stuff.
It is. It's a very thought-provoking start to our deep dive.
Definitely.
All right, so moving on to our second story, we've got Tissue Paper
Okay.
by Dianna, Kasen, Ritchie.
Tissue paper.
And this one takes us into a completely different world.
Right.
The dimly lit, messy apartment of Samson, who's a struggling writer in New York City.
A struggling writer in New York. So classic.
I know, right?
I love it.
It's like the quintessential struggling artist story.
Yeah.
But what I thought was really amazing about this story is how Ritchie uses first-person narration. We are completely immersed in Samson's thoughts and feelings as he grapples with writer's block.
Ah, I've been there.
And this intense fascination with Anna Marie, who's this
Okay.
woman whose portrait hangs in his study.
So she's like his muse almost.
Yeah, it's like this unrequited kind of fascination.
Interesting.
And I was really struck by the way Ritchie uses the physical setting to kind of mirror Samson's internal state.
Oh, okay. How so?
So you've got the cluttered apartment, the overflowing ashtrays,
Mhm.
pages of crumpled tissue paper everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And it all contributes to this feeling of stagnation and creative frustration.
Yeah, I can practically see it. It's so vivid.
It is.
Yeah.
And then there's this brilliant use of symbolism with the tissue paper itself.
Oh, really?
It represents not only Samson's failed attempts to capture Anna Marie's essence in words,
Mhm.
but also his inability to let go of the past,
Yeah.
to move forward.
Oh.
Like he's literally surrounded by the remnants of his failed endeavor.
Oh,
It is. And, you get these glimpses of the bustling streets outside his window.
right.
So it's a stark contrast between the vibrant world outside
Yeah.
and the stifling atmosphere of his apartment.
It's like the city is mocking him.
It is.
Yeah.
And that tension is what drives the narrative.
Yeah, he's trapped.
He's caught between this desire to connect with the world, to find inspiration, love,
Right.
and then his fear of failure and this tendency to retreat into isolation.
It's a constant battle.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, so for our third story, we are going to a completely different setting
Okay.
and a very different kind of tension.
All right.
Breathe Today
Mhm.
by Tricia Copeland
Breathe today.
takes us to a small town in Arkansas
Okay.
on the day the world is about to end.
Whoa.
Talk about high stakes, right?
It's intense.
Copeland throws us right into the action, introduces us to Calissa, this teenager who's going about her daily routine,
Yeah.
but against this backdrop of an impending supernova.
Wow. So it's like the ordinary meets the apocalyptic.
Exactly. And it's that jarring contrast that makes the story so compelling.
I can see that.
You know, she's going to the store chatting with the cashier,
Right.
knowing that the sun is about to explode.
Yeah.
It's so surreal.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, like, how would you react
Right.
in that situation?
Right.
You know, what would your priorities be?
Absolutely.
And that's exactly the kind of question Copeland wants us to ask.
Yeah.
She doesn't give us any easy answers.
Okay.
Instead, she focuses on Calissa's emotional journey, you know, as she grapples with fear, denial, and ultimately this sense of acceptance.
Yeah. Powerful stuff.
Yeah, and I was really moved by the scene on the bridge where Calissa joins her community.
Okay.
And they're all holding hands as they await their fate.
Wow. That's a powerful image.
It's this reminder of the power of human connection,
Yeah.
even in the face of unimaginable circumstances.
For sure.
And what really stays with you is the open-ended conclusion.
Oh, really?
I don't know what happens to Calissa. We don't know if she survives or not.
So we're left hanging.
We are. And it makes you think about, you know, the fragility of life.
Right.
The unpredictable nature of the universe.
It leaves you wanting more.
It does.
Wow.
Yeah.
These are some pretty heavy stories for young adults.
They are. They're really diving deep into these big questions about life and death and the human experience.
Absolutely.
And it's just amazing to me how these young writers are able to capture all of that, you know, in such a short format.
It's a testament to their talent.
It is, for sure.
Yeah.
So we've only just scratched the surface here.
Right. We've got a lot more to uncover.
We do.
Yeah. I'm excited to keep going.
Me too. This is fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so take a quick break.
Okay.
And when we come back, we'll delve into some of the other stories in this collection.
Sounds good.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Great.
Okay.
All right. So, you know, as we kind of dig deeper into these stories, what really strikes me is how these young writers explore that idea of confronting your fears, you know?
Yeah.
Every character is facing a different kind of challenge.
They're like a different obstacle to overcome.
Totally.
Yeah. Like
trying to think.
Enola Girl.
Enola Girl, yeah.
Eryn Tim really captures that constant anxiety of Sarah, right? Who's always looking over her shoulder, afraid her past is going to catch up with her.
Always looking over her shoulder. Yeah, it's like this weight of secrets.
Totally. And, you know, it
impacts her so much.
It is. And she finds like this semblance of peace in this small town.
Right.
But that fear of exposure is always kind of lurking beneath the surface.
Yeah, always there.
Yeah. And then, of course, that fear is realized.
Right.
Which I think
makes you think, can we ever really outrun our past?
Right.
Or is it always going to be a part of us?
Yeah. Can we ever truly escape it? Or is it just, you know, woven into who we are?
Right. And then there's that question of forgiveness, too. Second chances, can she find redemption? Or is she just going to be haunted forever?
Right. And Tim leaves us hanging.
Yeah. Tim doesn't give us any easy answers, does she?
No, she doesn't.
No.
It's like, okay, what happens now? We got to figure it out for ourselves.
We do.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how that theme of confronting fears plays out differently in Breathe Today.
Oh, yeah, totally different.
You know, here Calissa's facing this ultimate fear, the end of the world.
Right, and yet she finds peace.
Yeah.
Like a weird kind of peace.
It's not about ignoring it.
No.
It's about accepting it.
Yeah.
And finding strength in human connection.
Exactly, in those connections.
And then it's not just about those external threats either.
Right.
Some of these characters are grappling with internal fears, you know?
Their own demons.
Their own demons, exactly like Samson in Tissue Paper.
Oh, yeah. Good example.
He's paralyzed by his fear of failure.
Can't write a word.
He can't translate those feelings into words.
All right, and it's a struggle.
It is.
Just as real as any other threat. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the Gargoyle, too.
Oh, yeah.
Liam's fear comes from rejection.
Yeah, he's cast out by his father, right?
Right, by his own dad.
So he struggles with feeling worthless.
Oh, that's sad.
It is. And it's through the support of his friend and his mom that he starts to confront those feelings and heal.
The power of connection again,
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Human connection.
Yeah, that's so crucial.
Important.
And speaking of overcoming challenges,
Yeah.
Jessica in How Jessica Rose.
Oh, she's amazing.
I know, she's so inspiring.
So much adversity.
She faces so much bullying, societal pressures, even rejection from her family.
And she rises above it all.
She does. And Amy Elizabeth Camire does a great job of highlighting Jessica's resilience.
Yeah, she doesn't sugarcoat it.
No, she doesn't.
But you see that inner strength
Right.
shining through.
And it's like no matter what life throws at her, she finds a way to persevere.
Absolutely. A powerful message.
It is. And I think it's important to point out how skillfully these writers use symbolism.
Oh, yeah, symbolism.
It adds this whole other layer of depth.
Totally, like a secret language.
It is, and it invites us to think about the deeper meaning behind the words.
Right, not just what's on the surface.
Exactly like the sentient chair in A Love Story.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just furniture, right?
Oh, no, it's so much more.
It's this unwavering support.
A constant presence in Christine's life.
Right, and the tissue paper in Tissue Paper.
Yeah, another good one.
It's this brilliant representation of Samson's block.
And his inability to move on.
Exactly.
Tapped by the pass.
Yes, and then in blue and yellow, the colors themselves become symbolic.
Oh, wow.
They represent the personalities of Carver and Caitlin.
Okay.
And like the beauty of their connection.
I see, yeah, and the colors change throughout the story, right?
Do they mirror the changing dynamics of their relationship?
Yeah, and the uncertainty of their future.
Exactly, because it does.
Post-apocalyptic world.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing that impressed me was the imagery.
Oh, yeah.
And like the descriptive language.
They paint pictures with words.
They do. It's like you're right there in the story with them.
Yeah, you can practically feel it.
Exactly like in Tissue Paper. Ritchie's description of Samson's apartment is so detailed.
Yeah, it's like you can smell the stale air.
I know, right?
Feel the weight of all that clutter.
And then in Breathe Today, Copeland's description of the supernova.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrifying and awe-inspiring at the same time.
It's the end of the world.
It is. And she captures that sheer scale of the event.
Yeah, and that impending doom.
Yeah. You really feel like the world is about to end.
Totally.
Oh, and we can't forget the gruesome details in the family reunion.
Oh, my gosh. Yes.
Durand does not shy away from,
No, she does not.
The consequences of Florence's actions.
It's a shocker.
It is. It makes you feel a certain way.
Definitely not for the faint of heart.
It's not. It's definitely intense.
Intense. Yeah.
You know what's interesting, though?
What's that?
These stories were written, almost a decade ago.
Yeah, a while back.
But the themes are still so relevant.
That's the mark of great storytelling, right?
It is those universal human experiences.
They transcend time.
They do. And they connect with readers across generations.
I wonder what these writers are up to now.
I know, me too.
Like, how have their perspectives evolved?
Yeah, it's like storytelling is this ongoing journey, right?
Absolutely.
It's a continuous process.
Always growing and exploring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see where they started.
Yeah. These early works.
Yeah, it's like a snapshot in time.
A glimpse into their young minds.
And as we continue to explore these stories, I think it's important to remember that context is key.
Oh, yeah. Context matters.
The way we interpret a story can be influenced by our own experiences. Right?
Absolutely. And by the world around us.
Yeah, it makes you think about how these stories might have resonated differently with readers back in 2012.
Right.
Compared to today.
Totally different world.
Yeah, what shifts in cultural context or personal experiences might shape our interpretations.
That's a great point.
It's like the passage of time can add these new layers of meaning to a story.
It becomes a living, breathing entity, evolving with each reading.
That's a great way to put it.
Something to keep in mind as we head into the final part of our deep dive.
Yeah, we've got a lot more to uncover.
There's a lot more to explore.
All right, so let's jump back in.
Let's do it.
As we wrap up our deep dive into these stories, I'm really struck by how much setting plays a role.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's not just a backdrop, right?
It's like another character almost.
It shapes the whole atmosphere.
Oh, totally.
And it really influences how we experience the character's journey.
Absolutely.
Like in Tissue Paper, for example.
Yeah.
That feeling of Samson's apartment, messy, cluttered.
Yeah.
It really reflects his inner turmoil.
It's like all that stuff is a manifestation of his writer's block.
Exactly. And then you see those glimpses of the city outside.
Right.
Bustling, full of life.
And he's just stuck in that little apartment.
Yeah, it's like the world's moving on without him.
Totally.
And then Breathe Today, right?
Yeah.
Small town Arkansas.
Yeah.
This sense of normalcy.
And then boom.
And then boom, supernova.
The world's ending.
It's so jarring.
Yeah, it makes the ordinary seem so strange.
It does, right?
When you put it up against something like that.
And it's Copeland's descriptions of the townspeople, just going about their day.
Right.
It makes it even more poignant.
Like their lives are about to be snuffed out.
It's heartbreaking.
It is.
And then in Enola Girl,
okay,
the setting is both a refuge and a trap for Sarah.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, she finds this temporary peace in this small town, right? but it also limits her options.
Okay.
And ultimately, it exposes her vulnerability.
It's like a false sense of security.
Yeah, it's this idealized version of escape.
Yeah.
But the reality is she can't outrun her past.
No.
So the idyllic setting actually heightens the tension.
Yeah, it makes you feel like something bad's gonna happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even in a love story,
Okay.
the setting of Christine's home, as seen through the chair's eyes,
Right.
it reflects her emotional state.
It's like the house is changing with her.
It is. It's like the furniture is a marker of her relationship.
And the turmoil in her life.
Exactly.
It's subtle, but it's powerful.
And speaking of powerful,
Yeah.
memory is another big theme in these stories.
Oh, yeah, it comes up a lot.
It's a source of comfort and pain,
Right. It's a double-edged sword.
exactly like in Blue and Yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Carver's memories of Caitlin.
Okay.
They bring him comfort, but they also torment him.
He can't let go.
He can't, and the world's falling apart around him.
Wow.
And in Enola Girl, Sarah's trying to escape her past,
Right.
but those memories keep coming back.
They always do.
They do, and it makes you wonder, can we ever truly break free from our past?
Or is it just a part of who we are?
Yeah, big questions. And for Liam in The Gargoyle,
Okay.
the memory of his father's rejection just fuels his feelings of worthlessness.
Oh, that's tough. It's rough. And it's only through the love and acceptance of his friend and his mom that he starts to heal.
Yeah, the power of love and connection again.
It's so important.
It is.
And, you know, I think it's important to note the theme of redemption that runs through a lot of these stories, too.
Oh, yeah, redemption for sure.
It's like the characters are seeking atonement for past mistakes.
Right, or trying to make things right.
Exactly like in the family reunion.
Okay.
Florence's desire for revenge
Yeah.
it leads to her own downfall.
It's like a cautionary tale.
It is, you know, be careful what you wish for.
Karma's a boomerang.
It is. And then in Enola Girl, Sarah's journey is all about forgiveness.
Okay.
Forgiving herself and seeking forgiveness from others.
She wants to make amends.
She does, and we're left wondering, will she find peace?
Right.
It's a hopeful message, though,
It is.
about second chances.
And the possibility of change.
Yeah, even after making big mistakes.
Yeah.
And you know, even in a love story,
Mm-hmm.
the chair's devotion to Christine.
Could be seen as a form of redemption.
Unconditional love.
It transcends all the difficulties in Christine's life.
That's beautiful.
It is. So as we wrap up, I'm just blown away by the talent of these young writers.
Me too. They're amazing.
They're tackling these complex themes.
With such skill.
I know, it's incredible. And they create these characters that we really connect with.
Yeah, they draw you in.
They do. And it's a good reminder that we all have stories to tell.
We do.
No matter how young or old we are.
Right.
Stories that can connect us, challenge us.
And make the world a better place.
Exactly. So to everyone listening,
Keep writing.
keep reading, keep those creative sparks alive.
There are so many stories out there waiting to be told.
I agree. And that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
Always a good time exploring these amazing stories.
Until next time.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.